Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Mindbody Medicine for Chronic Pain podcast. I am here with my colleague, a health coach, Christina Wei. Welcome, Christina.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for agreeing to be part of this. Truly, I'm looking forward to picking your brain about this stuff. And as we were talking about before we jumped on the air, our audience, I'm sure, has a lot to learn from you. So I'm glad you're here.
Great. Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate, our talks are kind of back and forth over the past few months. It's been really nice getting to know your thinking process and, everything that you're doing in this world.
Oh, thank you. And same to you. And I'll just, to bring the audience in on that, we met, okay, my memory is, and I may be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, but my memory is that I reached out to you because I saw, because it was an article that had come out, I think, in the New York Times.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, tell the story.
Yes.
What do you remember?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So there was an article in the New York Times, and I believe it was about back pain, and I think it might have had something. They were talking perhaps about that young man who shot the United Healthcare.
Right, Luigi
CEO.
Mangione.
Right.
It was around that time.
I think so.
Yeah.
Right. And so then the whole issue of back, because this person had back pain.
Yeah, right.
And it was not resolved. And so then I think there was
failed surgeries. He was
Right.
very much a TMS person. Or still is, probably.
That's
He's
right.
still out there,
That's right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, right. And so so I think that the New York Times came out with an article on back pain, or maybe it wasn't related to that, but I feel like it was. I mean, it just became part of, some larger conversation. And the article, like many articles, did not mention Dr. Sarno or pain neuroscience or all the amazing work that's being done right now in the field. And I was very frustrated by that. So, and this is because it happens a lot. This happens a lot in mainstream media. And
that's why I was digging through the comments, was because I was in there too, being like, this is nuts. No one's saying anything. But then someone did.
Right. Well, actually, Christina Sarno Corner wrote something, which was really, really wonderful. And so I replied to her just to sort of, buttress this whole thing. And so I think you read what I wrote, and then you looked me up, because I guess I said I was I don't know, I had my name, in my application, as New York Times commenters can do. And so and then so it was so cool. You looked me up.
I did, yeah, and I saw you're a health coach. You're totally in this world. You get this stuff. You do it for yourself, and I was like, oh, no way! Great, let's connect.
Right,
but okay. Why don't we get to that? Let you introduce yourself.
Okay.
Tell us who you are, what you do professionally, and if you want to include anything you do personally, that is awesome too.
Okay.
But
yeah. Very briefly, my name is Christina Wei. I am a board-certified integrative health coach. Operating out of California, but I can pretty much work anywhere in the country, and so I do help people all over. I am specializing in helping people with chronic pain, and I use pain neuroscience education as the primary tool, based primarily on Dr. Sarno's work. Dr. John Sarno, as I think your listeners are probably familiar with.
They are, unless this is the first podcast of mine they've ever listened to. Yes, they are.
Yeah. Because he helped me so much. My own journey involves 30 years of chronic back, neck, knee, foot pain, IBS.
Well, Well, okay. So let's go there. Why don't
all of that?
We can do that. So tell us the story, because clearly you are like me, where you are in this work because it was a big deal for you, and it has been foundational for you personally. So wherever you want to start with that, talk to us about your journey with your pain and your symptoms in your body.
Sure. Well, I was struggling with some sort of pain, primarily back pain, since I was maybe 16.
Wow.
And we never knew what it was. I did everything that most people will do, go to the doctor, go to the chiropractor, um, try various self-help methods,
Mhm.
you know, um, acupuncture later came on board, and then just, even I even paid, um, to take a class in posture,
Yeah.
that, all of these things helped maybe a little bit or some not really.
Mhm.
I did almost everything short of surgery and really, strong medication.
Yeah.
So thankfully, I was saved from having to do those things. But I was in so much pain and I was suffering for so long, and there were just various ailments. Back pain was the main one because that one would just throw me for a loop every time I had a flare up.
Mhm. Well,
And
and yeah, talk to us, like, what was your life like? I mean, like, how, like, were you very limited? Like, what was it like at that
oh
time?
yeah, so I'd be down on the floor. I wouldn't be able to move. I would be lying on the floor for days. And this is
Wow.
when I had two young children and a job, and parents who would come and go, and a lot of responsibilities, and I think that was all related.
Right, right, which of course,
All related.
that makes sense now, yeah.
Right, but the pain started when I was 16, so it was
Yeah?
not just about, what was going on in my, I mean, it wasn't, I would say it was, yes, about what was going on in my life, but it would come and go. Uh,
Right, well, one thing that I've found in myself doing this is that, like, because my hip
yeah,
is, like, my ongoing thing, which has been, thankfully, really pretty great lately, so, like,
right,
that's a good thing,
yeah,
but, what I have come to find for myself in my own body is that, like, the same symptom can come up for different emotional reasons. Like, it's not the
absolutely,
same, okay, yeah, yeah. So maybe
absolutely.
same for you. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that that's what I'm trying to get at maybe, because I think
yeah,
when I was 16 and I was in high school and I had all these expectations placed upon me, um, to do things I didn't really wanna do,
yeah,
and I mean, I did not have the kind of trauma with a capital T that a lot of people I know have had,
right,
but
yeah,
it was enough to, I mean, what that means is you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot of
yeah,
emotional trauma. I mean, it doesn't require a whole lot.
yeah, yeah, agreed,
Yeah,
agreed.
yeah, and, so, people don't, I guess if people are thinking, "Oh my gosh, why do I have this pain? I there's I everything my life is seems to be going fine."
Right,
There might be things underneath that are affecting. It doesn't need to be a big deal.
right,
And I remember, Dr. Howard Schubiner said the same thing about himself, uh,
mhm,
because he said he had a great childhood.
mhm,
Everything was, on the surface looked really wonderful for him, but he had all this, pain going on too.
right,
Um,
and just so people can relate to this, I mean, do you wanna share a little bit about, like, when you were a teenager? Like, what
yeah,
were the pressures
yeah.
on you?
So I think that, okay, so it wasn't capital T trauma,
Right,
but
right,
it
right,
was
right.
trauma because the
Mhm,
trauma was the, um the messaging that I'm not good enough,
yeah,
right? And that is traumatic. It's the message,
yeah,
if I don't achieve this, this, and that, if I don't listen to what my parents say I need to do,
yeah,
that I'm not good enough. So, if I don't get those A's, if I don't join that activity, if I don't, m stand out in
mhm,
certain areas,
mhm,
academically or in terms of
mhm,
extracurriculars. For me, it was like orchestra, violin. I had to play a very difficult instrument that I never even really chose for myself.
wow.
And then there was speech and debate, which way out of my league, not
Mm,
interested at all. But that was like the activity that was chosen for me.
wow,
I mean, there
yeah,
was my parents who I don't blame them for any of this, because I understand that that's just their mindset as
mm,
immigrants. This is what
mm,
was really important for their children to do, to achieve, because the next
sure,
generation needed to have a foothold in society and
right,
had to have that security. I mean, all of that
right,
comes through. And there's a lot of stuff placed on the second generation.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Uh, but a 16-year-old, a 15-year doesn't understand that all of this is going on.
Totally. And I'm really glad you're sharing that because, like, it's I think it's important for people to hear, like, something that, like, to you maybe feels like normal because that's just your life. And same with me. All the things that happened to me in my childhood, like being gay in a homophobic environment, having the family I had, that was just normal. And so it didn't
Mm.
feel like it was bad particularly. Um, and there are some things where it's really obvious, like, you can't go through being physically abused,
Right,
for example, and not know, like, that was trauma,
right, right,
but I'm glad you bring this up because I'm sure a lot of people will relate to this kinda thing,
right.
and,
Yeah.
well, the way that I see it now that now that and I wonder what you think about this, but now that I'm, like, doing this with clients and I've
Mhm.
done a lot of work with myself, the way that I see it is I'm like, anything that will make you believe, like, number 1, you have to be afraid of sensations in your body. Number 2, you have to be afraid of your emotions. And number 3, you have to be afraid of, like, really being yourself.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
anything that leads you in that direction
Love that.
is enough,
Yeah. Right,
And I
any
hear
one
that in
of
what you're
those.
saying.
Any one
Yeah,
of those. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
totally.
And then when you have all 3, that's
Right.
triple
Yeah.
whammy.
No, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
But okay,
Mhm.
okay. So
Yeah.
let's get into your yeah, wherever you want to pick up with the story. You're
Yeah.
16.
Right, and so that sort of set off my I guess, my pain story,
Yeah,
so I had probably these emotions that were not safe. I did not feel safe to express, and so
yeah,
these emotions were there, and so they came out as back pain, and so as a 16-year-old having back pain, it was just kind of a weird thing because,
right.
we didn't understand why someone so young and healthy could have that. So, but that was n I never heard about Dr. Sarno. I might have heard one person say something about, "Oh, I heard that pain was psychological." But if they had said if I think they did say that, and then, of course, I just, like, brushed it off because, no,
Of course, yeah,
there's no way
yeah,
this pain is psychological, and I don't even
of
wanna,
course.
whatever those people are saying, it's not I just kind of didn't really wanna give it any energy or attention at all.
Totally, totally.
Yeah.
It's funny because that's you now, the person commenting at the New York Times. Like, but no, I see what you mean. I totally see what you
That's
mean.
me oh, man, that's me in a big way, because that's my mission now is getting the word I know. And so I do have to
Same,
remember
but
back
yes,
to that time, how difficult it is for many, many people to accept or to even
totally.
not even to accept, but even to get to the point of listening, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But yeah, yeah, I want to
so
I as you go with the story, like, talk about, like, yeah, when it got bad, like, when you had kids, when you were
yeah,
older, and then what
sure.
was the turnaround,
Yeah, so it was on and off through college. It was on and off, there were times when it would be much worse, but then there were times when it really did abate, and I think that had a lot to do with, how good I was feeling. And, there was an opportunity for me to study abroad,
Mm,
where the whole environment and the academic pressure was a lot less than
mhm.
where I was, at college, and I felt like that was so freeing for me. Actually, I was in Taiwan,
Oh,
so,
huh.
I was able to kind of visit my heritage and,
Oh, wow.
get in touch with parts of myself that I was really kind of rejecting because
Mm,
as an Asian American, it's very easy to, in your process of assimilation to not see, that or, to not acknowledge that part of yourself. And so
sure.
going to Taiwan was an opportunity for me to meet, uh, you know, other, um, just a whole group of, people that were very secure and happy in themselves
Mhm.
because they were the dominant race there. And
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
that actually was a different way of thinking that
Mhm.
kinda just opened my mind to being good enough at that level. you know?
That's really powerful to hear how
Mhm.
that mindset shift, like, clearly had an impact on your
Yeah,
nervous system, you know?
yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah, it was amazing, it was amazing, and so I didn't have any back pain while I was
Wow.
there. Um, okay, but then that was only a year, so I came back and then came back into this whole, uh, the whole thing that I was just came right back into that whole thing
Yeah.
of
Right.
of, working to finish my degree, um, dealing with family and just, trying to, like, make a life for myself as a young person.
Yeah.
Then I think I that was when I think I really developed some serious IBS,
Mhm.
and no idea, what we thought I caught a bug when I was overseas traveling, but just all the testing, everything, found nothing, and so, that was a big mystery for years. Years! I had
Mhm.
IBS for
Mhm.
years!
Mhm.
Uh,
And let me ask you this, because I have also very similarly had musculoskeletal pain and IBS.
okay.
To me,
Yep.
they feel so different, and so
Mhm.
it's weird to think that they
Mhm.
come from the same source, but yeah, what how was that for
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. It was very frustrating, it was scary, I was thinking, "What am I gonna do?" I just, am dealing I didn't know how to I really didn't know how to help myself,
Yeah.
because I think that, at that time, there were very few resources. I feel like there are more resources now because I feel like IBS is a little bit more, maybe a lot more accepted as a mind-body condition.
Yeah, I
At
think
that
so.
time, I believe my gastroenterologist was trying to tell me that, and I wasn't hearing it either,
Mhm.
but he didn't have any other solution for me, you know?
That's the thing. I totally agree with you. If like, gastroenterologist, whatever specialty you're going to, if
Mhm.
whatever doctor, say it's a, I don't know, ortho doctor, whatever it would be.
Yeah,
If they're like, "I think this is emotional,
yeah,
and here is my recommendation.
yeah.
Read this book, try this program,"
He
that would change everything, but when they just say, like, "I think this is emotional, period, I can't help
I
you,"
know.
what do you do with that?
That is the biggest thing that I'm hearing from my clients, actually. Yeah,
Okay,
right.
yeah.
Um, because they might be very willing to go that route,
Sure.
but they don't know
Yeah.
where to start.
Right,
They're,
right.
I mean, if they're willing to go that route, that's huge because
Mhm.
that's already, that's already exhibiting an amount of openness that's very difficult
Totally.
to
Right,
right.
totally,
But
totally.
then that's when you have to give them the resources.
Agreed. And I wish I had gotten the resources from a professional, I never did.
Yeah,
I found it and actually. But,
yeah, mhm,
I had just thinking of, had someone like,
yeah,
a chiropractor,
yeah,
had a gastroenterologist, had, an acupuncturist, had
mhm,
anyone been like, "Here is Doctor Sarno's book. Here's"
right,
this was not a Nicole Sachs's book. At the
right,
time, her online course.
yeah,
"Here's Alan Gordon's book."
yes,
That I
yes,
if I had gotten that, like, on day 1 of having hip pain at 19 years old, I probably would have been like, "This is stupid." But a couple years in,
right,
yeah,
right,
I was ready.
right,
I was ready.
right, right, yeah, yeah, so that is something that I think we as coaches and therapists if there's a way we can, communicate with the medical profession, uh, on just how they can what they can provide. Like,
Yeah,
there are things they don't have to do anything. They can just give,
yeah.
like, a piece of paper or,
Right.
and give somebody something to bring
Mhm,
home with them instead of
mhm.
just, "Oh, well, I think this is a psychosomatic or a psychological issue that you have to deal with."
Right, right,
That's
right, right, or they might see a psychiatrist, which is like,
right,
okay, but
right,
then usually the psychiatrist is just gonna try to diagnose, like, okay, is it depression, is it anxiety, is it bipolar, and then
right.
we'll medicate
That's
that, which
right.
is not what
That's
we're
right.
doing. It's
That's
not
not
the same.
exactly, it's not at all. So you really have to have the
Yeah.
right psychiatrist,
Yes.
and that is not an easy thing to find.
Totally, because, most people just don't know about this. But let's get into that for
Yeah,
you. Like,
right.
how did you get
Yeah.
this stuff into your life?
Yeah, okay, so right. Okay, so I hobbled along for 30 years,
That's
since
a long
the under
time.
yeah, but, it's as you know, it's an on and off thing, right? Because
Right.
that's
Right.
the nature of it. And so, that's kind of how you survive is because it's not, there are times when you can get through the day.
Right.
Um, and okay, so I think it really just got bad when I had young children and was going through a lot of stress with my husband. And my job was going well, but I felt like it was not working. My life wasn't working, you know.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, well, I have to make a decision here. Okay, the family stuff is driving me nuts. The
Mhm.
job stuff is also not doing it for me because it's not fulfilling me, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I gotta make a decision. And so I said, okay, well, all right, I think I don't think I can do both. So I said,
Mhm.
okay, I'm gonna drop the job and maybe I can come
Mhm.
back, do something, different. So I'll drop the job. Even though I was managing a large survey. I was doing public policy research and I was managing a large survey. I mean, it was a big job. So
Yeah, yeah, I mean, yeah, it sounds like you were really successful,
I
which
was
is
really
awesome, but your body,
no,
hated it.
right. I hate exactly. You got
Right.
that right. Yeah. So yeah. So I was okay to walk away from that job. And then I said, okay, well, what I have to do is I have to deal with the anxiety because I know I have it and it's not working. I don't think I have to live this way.
Mm.
And so, there has to be a better way. So I did research. I started reading all about anxiety. I started reading about, how to how to avoid, how to pull myself out of being burned out. And at the same time, actually, at the same time, my son was dealing with a health issue, and so I was, that was very concerning to me. That might have also fed my anxiety. His health
Totally,
issue
yeah.
was a thyroid. Um,
Mm.
it was a thyroid condition, Graves' disease, hyperthyroidism, which is something that you can get over, and he's been able to manage that pretty well. But at that time, I was, really concerned and I was trying to figure out how to help him. So I was doing a lot of research on, on healing, on natural healing and on, um, just self-help
Yeah.
because, uh, I felt like I had to help myself. So anyway,
Mm.
um, through that research, I stumbled across a blog that somebody wrote about Dr. Sarno. And as I was reading, just as I was reading, I started to feel better. So I was amazed. I know. That was like
Wow.
my aha moment. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh." 'Cause he was
Yeah, that's amazing.
yeah. The author of the blog was describing how he could tell his pain to go away, that he would kinda yell at it a little bit, that he would say,
Mhm.
just I just get away, damn it."
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, whoa, I'll try that because I have some neck pain right now. It wasn't really, horrendous, but it was like at a perfect level at which you could do this is what I was trained. If you're gonna do somatic tracking, you don't wanna do it when you're really, really
Right,
deep in it. You wanna do it when you
right,
just have a little bit or have enough
right,
that you can actually, play with it. And so
right.
I was at that point, and so I told my neck pain to go away, and it started going away and just blew my mind, and this is where we are now. This is where I am.
That's amazing. Well, okay, wonderful,
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
And just for context, when was that? Like, how many years ago? Like, what
Yeah, I think that was about 12 years ago.
well,
Yeah,
well,
maybe
yeah, fair.
no, definitely no longer than 12 years ago.
Well, okay. This sort of bleeds into the next thing that I want to
Mhm.
talk to you about because I know that you like spirituality
Yes,
is I know that that's huge for you,
yes,
very important for you, and in your recovery.
yes,
So
yes,
where you found out about this 12 years ago, and
yes,
that the way
yes.
that I see this is like that shifts the paradigm. Like now the healing work is no longer about like let me fix my body. The healing work is like, oh, let
Let me fix my
like
life.
now what? Exactly. Exactly.
Let me
So
right, and so yes, so this is perfect
talk
because
to us. Yes.
I was just amazed at how the work I was doing on healing my anxiety was identical to the work I was learning about healing my physical pain. So, I mean, it just I feel like my whole path has been just one mind-blowing discovery after another, which is so wonderful. I mean, I feel so privileged and blessed to, you know, be working in this field and to be doing this for myself and others.
Yeah.
But yes, so what happened was because I was dealing with anxiety, I was trying to find, what um, options there were there for me. And the one option that I think really helped me more than anything was seeing my life from a more spiritual perspective, or really um, thinking of um, life in terms of, um, I guess, something that is not usually talked about, which is
Mhm.
that we have certain ways in which we want to identify ourselves in this world, and those identities can be what keep us in pain. And this is something that has helped me so much, is realizing that my ego pops up in everything. And when I can see my ego in a situation that isn't serving me, then I can pull myself out of it. So what that means is, for example, when I'm deep in anxiety over something, what is that I'm anxious about? For example, let's say, okay, I've got the thought that my work isn't going well. Okay, well, that's because my ego is saying that I have to be a good worker, and that I'm not good enough if I'm not a good worker. And that's
Mm.
just one example. Or what if I'm thinking that I don't have a good relationship with my kids? My ego is saying I have to be a good mother. Um,
Right.
and what does a good mother look like? The ego says a good mother has to look like this. This is,
Right.
and so if I don't meet those standards, then I can't be happy. You know,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's all an illusion.
Yes, I mean, I was just gonna say, like, one of the things that I'm hearing in there is, like, all the pressure to make life and make yourself something that it's just
Exactly.
not.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. All the
That
pressure, all the messages that you get, from the time you're a child,
yeah.
and all those messages, can really, yeah, all those messages can really throw you for a loop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Well, okay, lem oh, go ahead.
and yeah, I was just gonna say,
Yeah, please.
yeah, through my studying, through my studies, uh, because my son was going through this Graves' disease, there was a really interesting endocrinologist who wrote a book that was so helpful to me, and um, he had talked about his spirituality in that book. I don't think he's a very well known, I don't think he's a very well
What's the
known
book?
uh, doctor, but the book was, let me see, the book is um, Graves. Wait, I have to pull up the book for you, but the doctor's name is Sarfraz Zaidi. I have it here somewhere, but you know what I can do is I can let you know.
You know, look, why don't you email me the info
Yeah.
and I can add it to the show notes, when we publish the podcast because people are always hungry for info, so
Ye
somebody's gonna wanna read the book. So
Okay.
we'll
Okay.
add it.
Mhm.
But yeah, yeah, go ahead. So you read the book.
Okay, great. Yeah. And he talked about um the acquired self,
Mhm.
which is also another term for the human ego.
Mm,
And that is what kind of introduced me to this whole idea, this whole world of spirituality.
mm,
And then I looked him up, and then he had said that he was deeply affected by Eckhart Tolle, who wrote The Power of Now and A New Earth. And those 2 books are really very influential, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, okay. So before I want to get into like what sort of practices you use and more around that. But
Mhm.
before we do, I think it's good for us to address like I mean, I don't know. I guess there's a few things here. First is like people don't like to, for some reason in our culture, I think people just shy away from like talking about spirituality, or like medicine and spirituality shall never cross. There's a lot of like, I don't know, just like fear and separation there.
Right,
So but like,
right,
hey, it's important. I would say, I mean, yeah, obviously it's important. And then I think also there's the other side. There's the fear of people who come to this work and then think like, "Oh no, do I have to develop a whole spiritual practice in order to heal from chronic pain? Is that what this is gonna be like?" And they have maybe their own religious trauma or whatever
right,
in their background that
absolutely.
they're like, "I can't do that." So I'm just like, speak to that a little bit, you know?
Well, I did have actually a fair amount of religious trauma
Same,
myself.
same.
Yeah, yeah. So so I was an atheist for a long time. Actually, I don't,
Mm,
and also when I came back into, uh and when I came back, I would say when I became more spiritually minded, I had never really thought about God as, I mean, it wasn't thinking about God, it was thinking
mhm,
about it was thinking about the ego, if that
mhm.
makes any sense. So it was
No, it does. It
thinking
does
about
to me,
what's
it does.
not God. How about
Mhm,
it was thinking about what's not God. It was thinking about what's no and in fact, so even to this day, I can't, I couldn't, define for you what is God, right? But
mhm.
I think I can define for you what isn't, you know?
I love
Right?
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I love
so
that.
yeah, so the whole thing about, um okay, the whole thing about, say, the human condition, is that love can be conditional, and that conditional love is what we are struggling with, because we're only gonna love ourselves if we can meet these certain requirements, we're only gonna love other people if they're perfect, we're only gonna find ourselves acceptable if we check all those boxes. That is not unconditional love.
Yeah, right?
Right, right? And so I think that what helped me was realizing that, the only thing that can save me is unconditional love for myself.
Mm, mhm. Yeah, that's beautiful. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, so and unconditional love, what does it mean? Okay, well, again, like I said earlier, kinda hard to explain, but I can explain what it's
Mhm.
not, and if we can at least
Great.
know what it's not, we're good.
Yeah, no, that's helpful. Right, exactly, exactly. Go ahead.
Right. So we're good. So we know that it's not, all these expectations that we place upon ourselves. So, Dr. Sarno, he said, okay, here's the 2 personality types I come up with, all again and again, perfectionism and goodism, right? And those are two, those actually are, those are the ego.
Totally.
Yeah, and those are ways in which we um keep ourselves from loving ourselves unconditionally.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, and so there's a lot of talk about, self-esteem, um versus self-compassion, and I like to teach the importance of self-compassion, and that self-esteem is not what we're looking for, even though we think it's what we want.
Right, because we think that'll solve everything. Like,
Right.
I won't be in pain if everything in my life
Yeah,
is just perfect and I feel so
exactly,
good about myself. Like,
exactly.
but you're still in such a place of danger there because you could lose it all and then you hate yourself
Right,
again and hate your life
exactly,
again.
exactly. That is enough. That is a spiritual practice. That is the most important spiritual practice in my mind. I mean, I feel like that is what saved me, you know? And
Yeah,
you don't have to say, "Okay, well, I, believe in the afterlife," and, and I mean, you don't, that can come later, or it doesn't really need to be what you need right now. Because I think number and I think that, uh, maybe that's why this work, I mean, maybe this is our purpose for being here, is to learn how to love ourselves and others unconditionally. And so, hey, you can do that That's a thing that you can practice for a lifetime, right? Because you're gonna come up with tests every single day, every moment of the day that are going to test that ability, that are going to say, "Okay, well, pull I'm gonna pull you back to this, mm, life of conditionality," or I don't know if that's the right word, but, a life of, trauma, like, and expectations and
Mhm,
belief systems that keep me from just being and
mhm,
just loving.
mhm. Learning to love yourself and others
Yes.
unconditionally. Wow, that's powerful, and I just totally relate to that, and that's the thing about chronic pain healing is, like, who knew
Yeah,
at the beginning
right,
when you start and you're like, "Okay, I just need to fix my stomach and I need to fix
right,
my hip," and then you get into, like, "Oh, this is actually a practice of learning how to love myself and
right.
others unconditionally." It gets so deep.
It's incredible, isn't it? It
Yeah,
gets
it really
so
is.
deep. I
Yeah.
love the fact, I don't know, maybe you feel this way too. I love the fact that I can talk about, uh, you know, surgery and bulging discs, and then I can also talk about pain neuroscience and,
Mm.
conditioning, and then I can also talk about love and forgiveness. I mean, isn't that wonderful? We can talk about all these things.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
we're
and
allowed to.
because it all matters.
Yeah,
Right, yeah, like,
yeah,
it's all important, it's all
right.
part of it,
You know, man, right, we can
absolutely.
talk about all these things. I mean, I feel like it's so sad that, so many in the medical profession are so limiting. I
Yeah,
mean, you probably hear that all the time from doctors. "Well, okay, well, that's not my area. I'm gonna
right,
send you to this specialist, that specialist." And they're so limited in what they can say and that what they can do.
right,
I mean, but
right.
as a coach, I feel even, I feel like, "Hey, let's go wherever you wanna go," and I love it.
Yeah, no, no, that is one of the awesome things about coaches, I think
Yeah.
particularly, myself as a therapist, like, I'm licensed as a social worker by the state of New York, and, like, I don't think there's any rule that I'm aware of against, like, talking about
Mhm.
spirituality,
Mhm.
but there is
Mhm.
pressure to conform to certain, like, standards of practice, and
Right.
there is a whole list of, rules, regulations,
Yeah.
etcetera,
Yeah.
many of which make sense, but it is,
Yeah.
I think people sometimes talk about coaching as if it's like, "Oh, coaching is unregulated, there's
Right.
nothing to it."
Right.
You can
That's
say
right.
that, I'm sure, not and obviously not all coaches are the same,
Yeah.
but this is the positive side of that. It's
Yeah.
like, if it's not a regulated field, you can really like, the fields are messed up. If anyone thinks
Right.
that, like, the field of medicine is doing great,
Right.
just look around.
That's
Like,
right. I know.
it's
That's
not.
right. Exactly. Yeah.
And so by having freedom, you're
Yes.
able to go farther than
Yes.
the traditional
Yes.
methods.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Yes, and so it
Well,
is. It's amazing that you start off thinking that you're just gonna fix your foot pain, and then you talk about transcendence and
literally. No, literally, like, it sounds nuts, but it's, like,
yeah, it
literally,
does.
and I mean, it's funny, the way you're talking about this just makes so much sense to me. I feel like you're putting it into words better than I could. I think about this part of the work as tuning into your true self,
Yeah.
which another way of putting that is, developing unconditional love for
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
and for others too. I think that's a really important part. I'm glad that you're adding that in because that's really important.
Right.
Because it's like I have just come to find like accepting myself
Yeah.
and accepting life, which it's is just I feel like another way of putting like uh
Mhm.
developing
Mhm.
unconditional love for
Mhm.
yourself and for others
Mhm.
and for the world.
Mhm.
Like, that's the practice. If you're
Isn't
doing
it?
that, you're healing chronic pain.
Yeah. That's the practice. Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. And I feel like it does start with yourself. I feel like if you can it's the hardest maybe the hardest thing is doing it for yourself because you know yourself so
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also because you I mean, we're not really trained or we're not really, you know, encouraged to do that, right? We're encouraged to try to develop ourselves. I mean, that's a very that's a subtle thing here, all the self-development and self-help that
Mhm.
okay, that's one way of wanting to, address the issues in your life, but it could easily also be another way of saying that, okay, I'm not good enough. I have to develop myself.
Absolutely.
I have to change,
Absolutely.
in a way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so but I think that if you can really fully accept yourself unconditionally as you are right here, right now, no question, no exceptions, um, I think that that helps you automatically do the same for others.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me say, I had a TMS specialized therapist for myself last year, and her name was Liz Wallenstein, and she
Mhm,
was such a great therapist.
mhm.
And what you're talking about, this was the biggest thing I got out of working with her, and it
Nice.
was so important for me and
Wow.
really made an impact on my pain. I mean, like, I walked away from the first session thinking like, okay, I have to stop trying to shape myself, quote unquote, and I have to start just allowing
Yeah,
myself.
yeah.
And really, the rest of the therapy for several months was just
Wow.
based on that.
Wow.
And it's been so important. It's been so important.
Wow,
And
that's
and it
cool.
just reminds me so much of what you're saying.
Oh, that's great. Great, I feel great. Then I feel like, "Hey, I'm on the right path then too, yay!"
We're both on the
Yeah,
same
alright,
track at
good,
least.
good, okay, alright.
Well, okay, so let me ask you this, like, I mean, I'm sure people listening to this are excited and are relating, I'm sure,
Yeah.
and, I don't know if, like, if you have, like, certain practices you use because I
Mhm.
think people are often like, How do I do this? What do I
Right.
do?" Which is it's so because so much of it is mindset, and so it's hard to be like, "Just do this."
Exactly.
But I'm curious, like, what advice, what I don't know, maybe
That is
modalities, like, anything that you would advise people
such a
to
good
do?
question, such a good question, because, you're so right. It is all about mindset. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's not about the tools, but the tool because it's about the mindset, right? The tools can get you to the mindset or can help you develop it. Um, so tools probably have to be, um, used just as that, not as the goal. Because I think that I mean, meditation, I feel, can be extremely helpful for a lot of people, but if it causes you stress, it makes you feel like, "Oh, you have to do it," then it's almost, not helping. Right?
Yeah.
So I feel like, people can try different things, and if meditation is something that they feel drawn to, they could try it. If journaling is something they feel drawn to, they can try it. I will say both those things I did do both those things for myself, and they did help, but I don't do them all the time. I mean, it's like
Mhm,
I use them, and now I'm doing something else. You know?
mhm,
Or I'm
mhm,
living my life. I'm just living my life. Oh, maybe
mhm,
I'm doing more gardening now,
mhm,
and maybe I'm doing
mhm,
more walking now. Maybe I'm
mhm,
doing I mean, I feel like if you can be flexible with yourself and your time and your energy and try different things, I think that might be helpful.
mhm,
So, a therapy also can be
mhm,
helpful, right?
mhm,
So, all those things are we're so lucky we have so many resources online that are free or that are really easily accessible. Um,
mhm.
and, you know, maybe one thing that I really should mention is education.
Yeah.
Educating yourself about the mind-body connection, educating
Mhm,
yourself that your body is not broken, that your,
mhm,
brain is also not broken, that
mhm,
really it's knowing that you're dealing with a mind body condition. Really
mhm.
knowing and understanding that is very, very important. And so, maybe that's step 1 actually.
Yeah,
That would be
I
step
agree.
1.
I think that's step 1 too, agreed.
Yeah.
Like, yes,
Yeah,
feeling safe in your body, trying at least knowing you can feel safe with your symptoms and your pain,
exactly.
I think
Yeah.
that's step 1.
That's number 1. And sometimes that's all you need to do.
I know, right? And isn't
Yeah.
that kinda shocking because I need
Yeah.
it a lot more.
Yeah.
But some people, that's all they need.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. And I think that maybe some people um at a very deep level, don't really believe that they're not physically broken. And they don't realize, I mean, because it's so ingrained, it's so unconscious.
Mhm,
And it takes a lot of learning and unlearning, maybe.
mhm,
And that, and maybe they think they really believe this, which is great because they want to believe it and they do at a conscious level really believe it, but it takes a lot more repetition, a lot more understanding, to
Yeah.
know that really, yes, you are okay. I mean, when you've been told your whole life that you're not, you've been told by all the
Yeah.
medical professionals that you've seen that you're not, hard to get past
Mhm.
that.
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely, and I think it's good to note that it goes deeper than that. Like,
Mhm.
I'm thinking of, like my example of growing up gay in a homophobic environment where you just feel like you're not right.
Yeah.
Like that was my experience,
Yeah.
feeling like I'm not right, this is wrong with me, and
Mm.
hearing your story too, like,
Mhm.
all the pressure that you had on you to be a certain way and like all these things and do all these things
Yep.
that you didn't necessarily like or didn't
Yep.
wanna do.
Yep.
Wha it it's the same message. It's
It
like,
is the
just
same
who you are is not good enough.
absolutely. It absolutely is the same message.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and that yeah, and I think though that, like, in a way, do you feel now as if maybe, uh, you can you can actually appreciate the fact that you had to go through that because it made you who you are today, and this is so much better? I mean, than you could I mean, it's amazing, right?
I totally know what you mean. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I when I first started this, I was like, "How could anyone ever be grateful for the pain?"
Right.
I was like, "I guess I'm grateful that the pain is starting to go away, but, like, grateful for the pain? Like, what?" And then as I
Yeah.
got deeper into it, I'm like,
Mm.
"Oh, because it wakes you up."
Oh my gosh.
I see,
Yes.
I see. So, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, very much so.
Yeah.
I sometimes will have these moments where I'm like, I had a moment like this at the gym recently where I was just like, "I can't believe that my hip is not hurting,"
Uh-huh.
and just like, I'm so grateful
Yeah.
to live in a world where this is all real, like
Yeah.
like,
Oh.
it turns out this is true, the mind and the body really are
Yeah.
connected, and, like, if you work on developing your mind and, working with your nervous system and this kind of deeper spiritual stuff, which goes hand in hand with
Yes.
all of that,
Yes.
um, it really does make you feel better,
Yeah.
and it makes you feel better physically, emotionally, spiritually, all the levels.
Yes.
So it's like,
Yes.
I'm just like, "I can't believe this is all true." It's really great. So I'm with you. I'm fully with you.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Well, let me ask you this, just going back to meditation, because I
Yeah.
think it's important, especially since we're talking about spirituality. I'm curious, like, you're saying, like, you wouldn't want you can see how people could use meditation in an unhelpful way,
Sure.
which totally makes sense to me. And thinking about coming from a life of like I have to be a certain way, I have to do this, I have to do that, all this pressure. That it's like, oh, I also have to meditate,
Yeah.
and then that's just another
Yeah.
thing that you have. I have to empty my
Right.
brain. I have to sit up
Right.
straight. I have to not think of anything for 30 minutes in a row.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so I don't know if you have any advice for people who want to use these, like, tools that people see as spiritual,
Mhm.
um, but they want to, like using the tool to get to the to get to the desired
Mhm.
place that the tool could bring you.
Yeah. Well, the way I see meditation is that it is a formal practice of how we want to be 24/7, right?
Mm,
So it's like going to the gym, right, to get strong.
mm,
But you could be toting bale all day, or you could be, exercising, moving your body all day.
mm,
And um what we I think mistake meditation for is that we can just sort of be there, do this for 10 minutes, and then go back right back into our day of worrying and
mhm,
striving and, you know,
mhm,
and seeking.
mhm,
I mean,
mhm,
can we have a meditative approach to life? And that is the key. I mean, so you can feel it for 10 minutes, but then it's sort of I feel like it's sort of limiting. So this
mhm.
I mean, this may people may disagree with this, but I don't think
Go
I'm
ahead. Yeah,
does this.
this is an interview with you, so you get to speak your mind.
Yeah, I don't think I'm the only one who says this, so I don't think this is original. This is not original.
Mm,
I mean, this is also, I'm not saying something that has not been said before, because I think that, the practice of being present is what we want what we're aiming for, or is aiming for. It's sort of like
I know what you
So
mean. It's hard to even put this stuff into words. I know what you
I know this is
mean.
hard. This has been
It is.
yeah, so the practice of being present is something you wanna do. You always wanna be present, right? You always wanna be
Mhm,
present. I mean, that's the idea, is that we always wanna be present. And so,
mhm,
for me, what has helped is just occasionally remembering, when I'm not. And that's just like meditating, because when you're on the meditation pillow, right, you have to pull yourself back. Okay, "Oh,
yeah,
yes, that's right, thinking. Okay, I'm
mhm,
thinking right now. That's okay. Let's go
mhm,
back to our breath."
mhm.
So, that is something that you can do all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And
That oh, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say that to me is very similar to journaling because that's that's certainly my of all the, like, chronic pain recovery methods,
Yeah.
quote, unquote, like, the tangible, like, "Do this," journaling has been my favorite and is the one that I've liked the best and done the most
Yeah.
of, and I
Mhm.
feel has helped me the most, and
Yeah.
it's funny, as I've done it, I remember saying to someone maybe, like, a year into this, like, TMS healing journey, I remember saying to someone, like, "I think I'm getting the benefits from journaling that most people talk about getting from meditation."
Mm.
Because it was a very similar kind of experience where I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm learning how to actually feel my emotions, how to actually just, like, take in my experience and not resist it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm learning how to try to just, like, feel safe with what I feel
Nice.
and who I am,
Nice.
and just feel safe with it,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it translates like, if you let it translate to off the page or off the meditation
Yeah.
pillow, like, outside of the tool,
Yes.
if you let it translate, then it can translate, then I'm out of my life and I'm like, "No, I feel so miserable, I hate this," but then I'm like, "Wait, wait, yes, I hate this, but, like, I just
Right.
have to go with it, like,
Right.
this is what I'm working on.
Right.
I have to accept this, I have to feel safe
Oh,
with
I
this."
love that, because that's what you learned when you were writing on the page. You learned,
Exactly.
"Okay, I'm feeling this, I'm writing this down, this is what I'm feeling, and I have to just sit with it." And so then that translates to the rest of your life. That's so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and it just reminds me of exactly what you're talking about with
Yeah.
meditation.
Yeah.
But okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
as we're starting to,
Yeah.
wind down, how are you doing now? Like, everybody this is what everybody wants to know, how are your symptoms now?
I'm good. I'm really
Hell yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Good.
I'm getting it's amazing. So, yeah, so it's been like 12 years at least. Um, I have just been getting better and better. And now it's even I mean, it's amazing that I can continue to get better, because, um, I thought I was good, like, a couple years ago, but now it's even fast. I mean, I can overcome a flare-up very fast, and I think that
Wow.
that is, that comes with practice, and it
Mhm.
comes with just being on this path for as long as I've been. Um, yeah, I'm good.
That's great. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great. That's great. That's great to hear. That's great to hear.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and it gives people so much hope,
Oh,
because
yeah,
I think it's hard to get like developing all these tools and developing your
yeah,
mindset and learning how to feel safe and
uh-huh,
developing a spiritual practice.
uh-huh,
It's hard to feel motivated just to do that in our world,
yeah.
but if you have chronic pain,
Yeah,
it's like,
you're
"Oh."
motivating.
Right.
You're
It's
motivating.
yeah, very motivating.
Yeah.
Well, okay,
Mhm.
anything else that you think, well, we'll get to where people can find you,
Oh,
but, I know obviously you are a coach. Anything else that you wanna add, like, that you think would be helpful to people? Because people come to this podcast surely looking for, like, advice, help, etcetera.
mm.
And, anything else that you would wanna add, like, tips for people or anything?
Well, I guess if people are really struggling, I really do feel like, after having worked with clients and on myself and in this area for so long, um, I I feel like the deep understanding that, um, you're not broken. I mean, that's like such an important message on so many levels. You're not broken physically, you're not broken psychologically.
Yeah,
And, you're safe, and knowing that goes a long way. And it's also, I mean, it's such a simple message, but it's also very, very, I think, tough for us to really integrate.
right, right.
So, I mean, it doesn't matter what it looks like. It could look really ugly, but you're still not broken. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a
Yes. Okay.
right?
That's beautiful, and that brings me right back to what you were saying, that like at the core of this is just like unconditional. What? How did you put it?
Yeah.
Unconditional what?
Unconditional love.
Unconditional love for yourself and
Yeah.
others,
Mhm.
because that is the same as you're not broken on
Yeah.
all those
Yep.
levels. You're not broken,
Yep.
no matter how bad, quote unquote, how ugly, quote unquote.
Yeah.
It's not broken.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah.
Hard to accept that.
Hard to
Very hard to
accept that,
accept
right?
that. Like, I hate that, you know?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of, like, examples in my own life where I'm like,
Yeah.
"But it is broken."
Yeah.
But it's like, "Okay, then that's the
Right.
work to do."
Hard yeah, hard to accept that, really hard. So
It is.
I can understand that it's hard, I can understand it takes time,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And that's okay, so that's why you have the tools, right? And that's what those
Yeah,
tools are for, right? We have the
exactly.
journaling, we have the therapy, we have the,
Mhm.
meditation.
Coaching as well, very
Yeah,
important.
yeah, and
Yep.
it's not like you have to do all of these things forever. They're like training wheels,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah,
Yes.
so
Yeah,
you'll be able to
yeah,
go
yeah.
on and I have full confidence in everyone who has TMS that they can get better. Full confidence, you know?
Good.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, okay, if I'm sure people are inspired by listening to you, where can people find you if they
Oh,
wanna know more about you? Or I obviously,
sure.
you're a coach. I know you have groups possibly coming up, so yeah, give us
Yeah.
where can
Oh, I
people
have a
find you?
class. Yeah, I've been teaching a class through,
Right.
the Berkeley Adult School that's coming up in September. But they can go to my website, ChristinaWeiHealthCoaching.com. So,
WEI,
Yeah,
correct? Christina
Christina,
W.
yeah, right. Uh-huh. And that's one way to reach me, and, I'm not gonna say anything I mean, and I have some information on my website. I'll probably put more I would like to put more educational resources on. I have a whole, list of other resources that people can go to. I might just wanna put some, I think, curriculum out there at some point. Um,
Cool.
but, I don't say I mean, I think that if people are interested, in just teaching themselves something right away, right? There's the TMS Wiki. Do you know
Mhm.
about the TMS Wiki site?
I do, yeah, I
Yeah,
do.
I think
I can put that in the show
yeah,
notes. Yeah,
yeah,
I'll do that.
yeah,
And your website, obviously, also.
yeah, sure. And there's always Dr. Sarno's book, right, for people who
Yep.
wanna start reading, right away. Uh,
Okay, this is a random question. I never know if you're gonna recommend one Dr. Sarno book,
yeah,
which book do you recommend?
Healing Back Pain, I think.
Alright,
Yeah,
cool, good to know.
yeah,
That's usually the one I that I say too, but then I'm like, some people recommend Mind Body
yeah, yeah,
Prescription,
yeah,
so I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know."
Yeah, I think that Mind Body Prescription because it's more, comprehensive in terms of
Yeah.
right, different symptoms.
Yeah, it's like you can have IBS, you can have
Right,
fibromyalgia, and it
right,
all counts.
right.
But healing back pain is the one that people read and they're like, "This book changed my life."
Exactly, exactly. Isn't that interesting? Something
Yeah.
magical about his words. I don't know, there's just something
There
about his
yeah.
words. Right, but I think that because people are still, when they first learn about this information, they're still, uh, they're not clear, and so for them to think that, "Oh, I wait, I've got foot pain, I can't be reading about back pain," not knowing that we're really talking about the same thing.
It's the same thing,
Right,
yeah.
so then, it might be a little hard for people to accept reading a book about back pain when they have another type of symptom. So that's why Mind Body Prescription comes in because it's more about all kinds of pain. But
Yeah.
but healing back pain, it has magic.
It is magical. No, that's the one that has changed most people's lives, so
Right,
for what it's worth,
right,
if
right,
you're listening, that book will change your life.
right. So
But okay,
yeah,
I will put your website, in the show notes.
okay.
We'll put TMS Wiki,
Oh,
we'll
thank
put
you.
links to all the stuff. Yeah, for sure. And, yeah, the course you're teaching, d
Yeah.
is there, like, a link for that too? Because
Oh,
I could put
yeah, I
that
can
in.
give you a link for the
Yeah,
course.
send that to
Absolutely.
me, and I'll put
Yeah,
that in the show notes too.
okay.
Because I'm sure people, I'm sure people
Sure.
who are listening to this would be they'd at least wanna check it out.
Yeah, that's great, that's great.
Well,
I will do that. Mhm.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
truly, thank you so much for coming on today. This has
Oh,
been awesome, and
oh,
and it's like I feel like this is such a good way to bring the spirituality stuff in a way that's like not threatening,
yeah.
feels very like safe, and also is very rich and deep. So thank you
Oh,
for
good.
offering all of that.
Oh, good. It's kinda hard for me to talk about, even though I love talking about it, because it's hard to put into words, right?
I agree.
This I mean
I think you're probably better than you believe you are, because everything you said made sense to me.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
And for people listening, if it doesn't make sense, this is like I'm relating to what Christina, what you said earlier. It is, you have to get it at a lot of different levels,
Yeah.
and it is hard to internalize this, and words are so limited. So, like,
Yeah.
listen to this one twice, maybe listen to it now, come back to it in a month, and maybe you'll have new insights, because
Right.
this stuff is really deep, and you may not get it all in the first go, and that's cool. Come
Yeah.
back to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so, so much for being here. And for everyone listening, this has been Mind Body Medicine for Chronic Pain, and I will talk to you next week.